This is a very special edition of the Brand Ambassador series. We have Nikka today. Tadashi-san. Very pleased to have you here. And of course, this is a bit of a, it's very new here in the US. Barely a year old. So we've got everything to learn.
Yep.
You're here to tell us everything. Please start with the beginning. And don't be afraid to go into details.
Yeah.
Nikka, big company, 2 malt distilleries,
Yes.
a grain whiskey distillery, and a big range of whiskies. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So we have 2 distilleries in Japan. And one is Yoichi, and one is Miyagi-kyo. Why so? We have 2 distilleries. We need many types of whiskey, so we built 2 distilleries in Japan. And so Yoichi is, I suppose only one distillery is still using direct coal fire pot stills, and so its character is very strong and so rich style. And so Miyagi-kyo is using just steam heating pot still, and elegant and fruity style. There's a big difference between 2 distilleries.
So strong and bold and light and
fruity. Yes.
Very good. But then this, what is this?
This is so completely different from this range is malt whiskey, and this is grain whiskey, and we are still using a very old style continuous still.
The coffee.
Called the coffee grain, yes. And the coffee means name of the inventor of stills in 1820 something. Yeah.
And this is unusual to see this because, okay, that's it. We have to talk about Scotland. Because in Scotland, they rarely release grain whiskey. Normally, it's really just for the base of their blended Scotch whiskey. Why do you think this is good just like that?
So actually, we just started to sell coffee grain whiskeys very recently, just 1 year, last year or something. Yeah, and used to be we launched so maybe 10, 20 years ago, but it was not so good selling because no one knows about grain whiskey. So at the time, so all Japanese whiskey would be blended whiskey, and then malt whiskey came, and then we saw our unique grain whiskey should be launched. So that's our idea.
Good timing.
Yeah.
But then, what are you using? Wheat, corn, buckwheat? What is it?
We are using grain whiskey, so mainly corn.
Okay.
90% of corn, and less of the malted barley.
Okay. Where is the corn coming from?
Mainly from the United States.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're stealing some corn from the United States.
Yeah.
But to make a very good whiskey. And how old is this one?
We not statement on any ages, but minimum would be 7, 8 years to 20 years old. Yeah.
Oh, all right. And are you using white oak for this?
Yes, of course we are using white oak, American white oak for aging. Yeah.
Are we talking about the same as for bourbon? Is it also charred?
Yes. Basically, we're using, so especially from new wood, we are toasting and char, and not so heavy, rather than bourbon.
Okay. What is your number 1 product in the Nikka Whisky range in volume in Japan,
in Japan
and in the world?
In Japan is so we only sell in Japan for only Japanese market called Black Nikka, but so we don't sell so to the abroad, and possibly so for us the most selling so best selling whiskey into except Japan will be from the barrel.
From
the barrel, yes.
All right, yes.
Yeah.
It is a very tasty one. That small, squarish bottle at a good price is very tasty, and it's strong. If you look at the label, you see the alcoholic strength is high, but it doesn't taste strong. It tastes very fruity and round. This is a very, very good whiskey. You can find it everywhere.
That is a contribution from grain whiskey.
All right. Very good. Well, while we're talking about all these things, I'd like to get started on maybe discovering one of the two single malts. Then maybe we should start with Miyagi-kyo. Is it Miyagi-kyo or
Miyagi-kyo?
Miyagi-kyo,
yes.
All right, very good.
Very, very difficult to pronounce.
Well, we'll do more whiskey drinking practice in order to get the name right. Then, how many pot stills do you have
in Miyagi-kyo? Miyagi-kyo is eight pot stills. Yeah. Thank you.
8 pot stills.
Yeah.
But only steam fired.
Yeah.
All right. And this is a 12 years old. You go for the whole range, all the age statements for each distillery. Was it 10, 12, 15?
10, 12, 15. And so Yoichi we have 20. Miyagi not yet. So only Yoichi 20 years old.
All right. Very good. Tell us about why Nikka is different in the world of whiskey production, and also why is it different from other producers of Japanese whiskey?
Very difficult question. Yeah.
We've got time. And yes, you'll get inspiration from this.
But a very round and soft and smooth.
It's a lovely nose.
It's kind of so apple or banana.
It is very fruity, quite exotic.
So after we are using both these different yeast strain, and so we are using many types of yeast strain.
But are we talking about distiller's yeast or brewer's yeast?
We only using distiller's yeast, but our own culture.
Right. Okay.
And so especially for Miyagi-kyo, we are using very ester-rich yeast to make.
That explains the great fruitiness
of
this whiskey. This smells like a single malt that we could be having late in the morning, in the middle of the afternoon, early at night. It's a very single malt Scotch whiskey kind of way.
Yeah, very, very, very similar, because our founder ran the whiskey making in Scotland. So we are still using that very traditional Scotch whiskey making.
But you have to use the local water.
Yes.
What's specific about this water?
So in Japan, the water is very soft.
Miyagi-kyo is in what kind of climate? How would you describe the maturation in this area?
So Miyakyo located in the northern part of Japan, so it's not so summertime is not so cool, but quite hot, quite hot. But so winter time is very cold, and especially the snow, winter time in the snow, and gives humidity. So it's very good for whiskey maturation, such type of the Scotch whiskey. So very cool and wet weather is good for maturation of whiskey. Yeah.
But then, what about Yoichi on Hokkaido?
Yoichi is
Even colder than?
Yeah, colder than Miyagi-kyo, and winter is very cold and much snow, very cool and wet. Yeah.
So it takes even longer to mature, or it creates just a very different whiskey?
But so basically, so difference to the temperature is, say, winter time, so say 0 degrees centigrade or something, winter time, around Yoichi would be -5 or something.
Okay.
And in summertime it would be 22, 23, and so average temperature. The Yoichi is 20 or something.
I see. So there's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Well then, let's taste this difference. But Yoichi, being much bigger, is it much bigger because of a higher peat level?
Yes.
Or because you're using maybe a different kind of barley, or is the water different?
Water is different, but itself is so. We are using more peaty one for Yoichi, but so the variety or something is same, just a peat level. Yeah.
But then let's talk about the peat a bit further. The barley comes already peated from Scotland, or is it?
Yes.
Okay. So you have peat on Hokkaido.
Yes.
But you're not using it.
We are not using. So maybe we stopped more than 30 years ago.
Okay. It didn't work on the.
Just the price of the barley in Japan is very expensive. Very expensive.
Yeah.
4-5 times compared to Scotland. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's import it. We smell the peat, but it's not too aggressive.
Not too strong, but peat will be 5 ppm or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is not too peaty. It's got muscles.
Yeah, very soft.
It is a strong malt. The shape of the stills. How many do you have then?
In Yoichi was 7 pot stills. Yeah, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Yeah.
And they are the same shape as the ones in Miyagi-kyo?
Not Miyagi-kyo. So Yoichi's shape is a straight head and descending line now. And Miyagi-kyo is so has a bulge and ascending line arm. So the shape of steel is different. Yoichi and Miyagi-kyo. Yeah.
So you have more reflux in Miyagi-kyo?
Yeah.
Hence lighter. Okay.